When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
They fooled me, we can't get fooled again.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
If you don't like what we tell you to believe in, we'll kill you.
All right, kids. Listen. Don't listen to this podcast.
Don't listen to this.
If you're not of age.
What's of age?
18.
So 16?
18. We're a bunch of dudes, and we're going to say some really bad words.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Conspiracy Podcast.
What up?
What's up, everybody?
We're here. Video. You have.
That's weird.
We have provided for you.
So strange.
Don't say daddy didn't do nothing for you.
Hope everybody's doing good. Your Tuesday's going well.
Yeah. Or if it's going shitty, it's about to get better.
We have a pretty awesome 2-parter for you guys. It is on the Boeing whistleblower and the Boeing evolution, I guess the downfall,
the conspiracy that is Boeing.
I mean, it's weird because it's not quite a downfall because it's like
not
the
yet.
biggest company on the planet.
They're still crushing it.
Yeah. So they're not really down, but
this is the start of the downfall. The downtrend of Boeing.
If you haven't heard, recently a couple people who were considered Boeing whistleblowers died under strange circumstances.
Or killed. We could just say they were killed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying if you haven't heard, like, you've heard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's just whether you're paying attention.
Yeah, that's right. So, but what I, after doing some research, this story actually goes back even further.
Oh.
So it's not just
right now.
the dude saying something's wrong and then dying.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back. So as we do on this podcast, we like to kind of give you a little bit of the history. And so here...
There's a lot of history on this one. That's why we're going to make it into a 2-parter.
Yeah, it's probably going to be 2 parts. So here we go. Why don't we dive in? So...
two parts.
Okay.
Two.
I thought it meant like cut it.
Cut.
We should...
First thing, though, is I'm going to have a sip of my coffee.
Okay.
Delicious.
It's kind of early.
Amber coffee here.
Okay, so the first powered flight of a heavier-than-air aircraft occurred on December 17th, 1903 by the right...
December 7th, though.
Yeah, close.
Yeah, close.
Yeah.
About 40 years off, too, though.
Yeah, true.
By the Wright brothers. You guys have heard of this?
Yeah.
Of course.
This is basic American history.
They were in...
Kitty Hawk.
North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina. It's called Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Their aircraft, the Wright Flyer, made 4 flights that day.
And it was made of only wood. Yeah. It was like literally fucking plywood and glue.
It was 120 feet for 12 seconds.
That's amazing.
Hey, that's pretty good. For the
they
first
were
one.
like, can you imagine being like, oh my fucking God, we're doing it. We're flying.
So obviously this is a famous story of American ingenuity and the start of aviation across the planet. And what's crazy about this story is that this happened in 1903, and the start of Boeing is 1916.
Oh wow, they were like, we're doing this.
So the evolution
tonight.
of this is wild, and you've probably seen on a lot of TikToks and a lot of videos where they go, how did we go from no flight to landing on the moon in 50 years?
I mean,
pretty much.
Yeah, because we went.
If we did land.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
And this is why Jorge's on the show.
So the history of the Boeing company is a journey through the evolution of aviation from the beginning to what it is today. Established in 1916 by William Boeing. And it was established as Pacific Aero Products Co. And the company played a pivotal role in shaping aviation from the beginning to where it is now. The first flight of Boeing aircraft happened on July 15th, 1916. So their flight was only 13 years after the first flight of man.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
They were like, and that was like commercial.
Yeah, the aircraft was the Boeing Model 1, also known as the Boeing B&W or the Boeing Bluebell, which was a seaplane designed by William Boeing and a Navy lieutenant named Conrad Westervelt.
Damn, what a
Rad
fucking-
name.
Dude, yeah, that guy sounds like
Awesome
a legend.
name, yeah.
Sounds like he should have like a coin after him.
So it happened in Seattle, and this is where Boeing started, was in Seattle.
Oh, did I know
And
that?
so it was the beginning of what would become one of the biggest companies on Earth.
Yeah.
Are they one of the biggest companies on Earth?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, because they also get like a bunch of defense contracts too. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're huge. They're massive. Okay.
So the Boeing company began as a small aircraft manufacturer in Seattle. Its initial success came with the production of seaplanes for military use.
There you go.
There we go.
During World War I. The company renamed to Boeing.
Oh, from the Pacific.
Pacific Aero. Yeah, exactly. After the war, Boeing shifted to commercial aviation.
Is that a last name or something? Boeing or
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
William Boeing.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you go. I didn't catch that. Sorry.
Or he's not listening.
Or it's like, where am I? Or it's like,
the first.
Whatever's in this Yeti is amazing.
This tea I'm having is really
yeah,
good.
it's spectacular. Tea, folks, in case you haven't noticed.
So in the 30s, Boeing continued to innovate, introducing iconic aircraft such as the Model 247. And it was the first modern airliner with an all-metal frame.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Okay.
They were still using like wood and shit, like wood
I mean,
siding.
yeah, basically. You know, the little 2x4s holding the,
like the
fucking
wings
wheels.
are like
Yeah.
shit stable.
Made
trust
out
me.
of pallet wood. Little DIY project.
Look, it's only good for like 2 years and then it just erodes.
So they also, one of the first things they developed was the B-17.
Oh,
And
shit.
This was known as the Flying Fortress.
Dude, it's a B-17 bomber, baby.
Yeah.
That thing is
Yeah.
the
That's right.
fucking big dog.
And so that B-17 evolved into what would become the B-29, which was the Super Fortress. And that was what carried the
They
nukes.
can't like, well, it's also, it carries tanks and shit
Yeah.
too. Like,
Yeah.
those things are
Oh, that's
fucking
massive.
so big. They're like,
Yeah.
how do they even get off the ground?
Yeah. So they...
It's like the one they had at the Airfest, probably, right?
Oh, that's right. They both went to the air show, by the way.
Yeah,
and
that shit was fun.
I was invited, so it wasn't like I was just left out. So, but
Honestly, it was rad.
I didn't go
It
on
was-
purpose.
It was really
super
cool.
cool.
I
But it
mean,
was
aside
mocked. It was
aside from
mocked.
the... Yeah,
It was-
it was
it
a
was-
2-hour waiting.
Yeah, for
kind of.
everything.
Yeah.
For every...
for like
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, for fucking everything, dude. You want
And
to
then
buy water...
They decided not to have shade
So they decided they were like, fuck
yes.
anywhere. So like 1,000 people were parked under a plane.
Yeah, under the plane, the wing.
Yeah.
under the B-27.
Yeah, just
yeah, exactly.
just the kids screaming because they're dehydrated, and it was it's a good time.
So happy
Yeah,
I
it was a
didn't
good
go.
time.
So
Yeah.
happy I
It's
didn't
fun.
go.
It
Trust
was
me.
free.
It was free?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
free to get it.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was free.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it was worth
It's
it.
not my, wouldn't be free.
Yeah.
True.
The harassment I would have
Dude,
received from my child
I
is
know.
like not free.
So
Back to Boeing.
as these companies do, like during the war, they, for lack of a better word, they blow up, they explode, they
it's
grow.
It's
They
all
get
that all that
huge.
guaranteed
Yes.
funds.
Yeah, exactly. So the war ended, and then they had to further their innovation in order to move towards passenger airliners. You know what I mean? But they did, and they revolutionized air travel, and they actually were the ones who made it so in the 60s, air travel became affordable.
I want to
Commercial.
know. I have a really
Like,
commercial,
I
yeah.
have a really
Yeah.
good question.
Yeah.
Did they just stop having like smoking and shit on planes because no one wants to be around that smoke, or is it because of like
It's
an
probably...
actual like?
Nah, it had to be like
Secondhand
some fire
smoke.
or some shit, no?
Dude, they were ripping like
Secondhand smoke.
Do you remember? I remember my first couple times on a plane. They still had the ashtrays, like in in the armrest.
Like, have you ever seen the? There's like a video going around on TikTok, like this old school. It was like from 1980, so maybe not that old school, about drinking and driving, and then people are getting so pissed off that there's a new law you can't drink while you drive. They're like, what's a man supposed to do when he gets off work? I gotta wait until I get home.
I can't crack a beer in the car. How dare you? Like, what's a man supposed to do when he gets off work? I just bought the 6-pack. It needs to be drunk.
Dude, my grandpa would drive and drink Tecate Light.
Yeah,
and just in his pickup truck.
Well, yeah, I mean, 700 later.
Tecate
I'm
for the
eating drunk.
translation.
Tecate.
Tecate.
What does that stand? What does that mean in English?
I don't know.
Bud.
Yeah, Bud.
It's Bud.
It's the Bush. It's the Bush of Mexican beer.
It's like Bush Ice. Tecate.
So in the 60s, like I was saying, they basically made the industry. They made it so that, the businessman can fly from LA to Chicago in an affordable way.
Yeah.
And
way more affordable than driving.
And it used to be like a whole event. Like people used to get fucking like
steak dinners and shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was like
and people would get like dressed up.
Oh, you were in suits?
Nowadays, fucking people showing up in like pajamas and Crocs and
honestly,
whatever.
You can see the evolution of cost cutting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning you go, okay, every seat had
is that fucking
ample
lazy
room,
boy?
ample room.
Hell yeah.
A little cocktail. I mean, even DB Cooper had like a whiskey and a Coke.
That's
or what
true.
Did he have?
Yeah, something like that.
It was like $3.99.
Yeah.
He wasn't in like economy plus. Yeah. He was like fucking just like Reggie.
Now I'm literally
He wasn't
going,
at Eric status, economy business.
Yeah,
well, silver. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Continental silver.
Not a big deal.
Silver platinum.
No, but nowadays you basically are literally groping people because you're so close to them. You're so tight.
True.
And it's all because they're cutting costs.
Yeah, I mean, you ever have like the awkward armrest moment?
Oh
yeah.
I'm the biggest guy on the plane. I'm like, and I'm still forced to like give up my 2¼ inch of armrest.
I put up with that. What I hate is when it's like my
the
knees
knee
are
on the
hitting
thing?
the seat in front of me. I hate that.
Dude, we did when we had our honeymoon in Spain. We flew from England to Spain, and this was the shittiest. It was a full, massive plane.
It's like chickens in cages.
Like I literally had to have my legs like up to my chest. It was that small. And I was like, "Do you have not?" Like,
That makes me claustrophobic, man.
Even the exit row was like, "You're fine." Like, there's no space anywhere. I was like, "How do people fly?"
Oof.
Anyways, because the Europeans are smaller.
I have an actual problem. I'm gonna just tell the whole audience. So I have elevated arm hair.
Yes, I can see
So
it.
if I'm sitting in the armrest situation, I'm not necessarily touching somebody,
but the hair is touching them.
Yeah, so
the hair is like.
So literally, it's like tickling somebody.
And they're like, "Stop
it's
touching."
a problem.
Like, stop touching me. You're like,
tickling me.
you're like,
I'm
my
trying to go to
hand is in a fist. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's an actual problem.
Like, listen, bald man.
Maybe before I go there, I should just shave this part, just one slot. And I did it for you.
No, but what if you're in the window?
What if you're in the middle? If you're in the middle, you gotta do both.
Double times. Yeah.
Just cut your arms off.
Yeah. Anyways,
back to Boeing.
Yeah. In the 1980s, Boeing further expanded its reach into the aerospace industry with the acquisition of aerospace and defense assets, including the merger with a company called Vertol Corporation, which was a helicopter manufacturer.
Cool.
And the acquisition of Rockwell International is another aerospace division. So they just keep kind of expanding in aviation and just keep going, In the 90s, Boeing started to face some challenges. They finally had some competition.
Damn it. No more monopoly?
Yes.
This is bullshit.
So a company called Airbus. Have you heard of Airbus?
Oh, yeah. Dude, they make the super sick ones like if you fly into Dubai, like the double decker. Like they're huge. Yep. It's so awesome.
So Airbus started manufacturing planes and it didn't happen overnight. Like just imagine you get 1% of the market, and then a year later you got 2%, and then 5 years later you got 3%.
That's a huge market, though.
You know what I mean? And then you keep going, and then eventually what happened, I won't spoil it, but they kept going. They kept expanding Airbus.
Okay.
And it became a problem in the 90s.
Okay.
For Boeing,
for shareholders.
You need to kill these motherfuckers.
You know what I mean?
Boeing.
For Boeing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. If you had 90% of the market.
Well, yeah,
Right.
I'm sorry. That's a thing called like antitrust laws. It's like there's a reason that you can't have a monopoly. There's a reason that Microsoft got shut down back in the day to let Apple thrive.
Yeah,
like,
true.
It's not like you imagine like the shareholders of Microsoft being like, but we're killing it. Like, let's just. Why is this happening? We're killing it. Like, we're killing it right now. What it's happening?
So basically, up until 97 or 95-ish, Boeing had pristine reputation. And they even had a saying, people had a saying in the industry, and it was, if it's not Boeing, I'm not going.
That
sounds familiar.
That's
Yeah, I think I
trendy
heard-
shit.
So it was like,
that somewhere.
Boeing was the
gold
premium.
standard.
It was the Mercedes. It was the, I don't know, give me some more. It was, what's the gold?
It was like the
top?
conspiracy podcast of podcasts.
You know what, Jorge? You're onto something here.
Exactly.
You are onto something.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the conspiracy.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. They were the conspiracy podcast of air flight.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
So in 1997, Boeing merged with McDonnell Douglas, and
87?
that 1997.
97, okay.
And this is when a lot of conspiracy theorists and a lot of whistleblowers say
Shit
it
went down.
yeah, really, things started to change. Eventually, the CEO of McDouglas took over as CEO of Boeing.
Oh, so he's like, we're gonna go to the McDonnell Douglas standard.
Yeah, and so just
Cheap
imagine,
as fuck and
so
maximize profits.
just imagine your company for the last 30 years is all about culture,
quality.
and it is perfect. Otherwise, don't do it.
Yeah.
But so just imagine, the culture was that, and it was about perfectionism, and it was about safety, and it was about making the best airplane that you could make.
Yeah,
and then a new company came in.
So like,
Start taking your shit.
Changing your policies.
Yeah, how much cash can we make?
Yeah.
We can
exactly.
cash this out.
Maybe letting go of every third person.
Yeah.
Who maybe was like there for 35
That's the
years.
thing
All
about
the quality control techs. They're
Well,
like,
that's the problem with like public companies is that it's all
Money
about
motivated.
shareholders.
Bottom line, baby.
Bottom line.
Yeah, it's like,
you got to cut costs everywhere.
Yeah. So as of today, here's where Boeing kind of stands. You ready?
Ready.
141,000 employees.
That's a fucking shitload of
Whoa.
That's
Across
a
the planet.
lot of that's an extraordinary amount.
Boeing competes with Airbus. Now, as of today, Boeing held 45 to 50% of market share.
That's a great market share.
In the 80s and 90s, they were
Yeah,
at 80 to 90.
Right.
But obviously, you can't. If they had that now, they would get.
Oh yeah, they would get
the
split
government
up.
would be like, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah. Boeing's revenue fluctuates, and you could look it up. They're a publicly traded company, but essentially it's 58 to 60 billion per year.
Per year.
And, I mean, they're lucky because that's what happened to happened to the Bell Corporation because they had a monopoly on telephones. It happened to Standard Oil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it happened to Microsoft. It happened it's just the reason those
It would have
rules
happened.
exist.
It would have happened anyway.
It would have happened. It's
yeah.
like at least they it naturally glided down before they had the government intervene.
No pun intended.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Whoops, it is. Yeah.
Then I wanted to go over a little bit of the airline industry and, mainly Boeing, but because when I was doing some of the research, I realized how safe it is.
Oh, it's statistically so much safer than driving.
It's insane.
100%.
Oh, it's like you have like an 80% chance higher to die while driving than flying.
It's an amazing feat, actually, I thought, of mankind that they were able to put regulatory companies or oversight committees, and they were able to make it so it was so procedural and so many people checking on it that it became that safe.
Well, yeah, I mean, all the air traffic control systems
All
in
of it.
place, and there is they have to communicate within a certain amount of time,
But just the aircraft
consistently.
itself,
the
being
aircraft
safe
itself
enough.
is definitely super safe for sure.
But they didn't really have issues like that, right, at the beginning, or
They did.
They did.
They did.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So then that's why they brought in all these committees make sure everything's safe and all that shit. Yeah.
And hijackings and
whoa. But
security.
again, that's not to the aircraft.
They're all around air flight. Like
okay, right.
Then you add in security problems, then you add in
But the hijack that was just 20-some years ago.
No, but I mean, even like DB Cooper hijacked, a bunch of people in Europe hijacked, the one in Kosovo hijacked.
So you're just talking about it overall, like
just the industry and the evolution of it all. The fatality rate for commercial aviation is measured in fatalities per billion.
Oh wow! So it's that's how small it is.
Per billion kilometers flown. Sorry.
Okay. We're never gonna get to that.
No, they're like we're at literally 0.0000001%.
So according to the International Air Transportation Association, the global average fatality rate for commercial aviation in 2019 was approximately 0.09 fatalities per billion.
Per billion miles
kilometers
flown.
Okay, so think about that. 0.09 fatalities per billion miles flown.
Now, about how many billion miles do we fly a month or a year or what?
Let's say
Good
0.09.
Yeah, I mean, like in terms there are 100,000 flights a day.
But what's the average flight?
Miles.
Yeah, in terms of miles.
What do you think?
I would say a couple days.
2 hours, right?
2 hours. They're traveling anywhere from 300 to 500 miles an hour. So let's say let's just do a little math here. So let's say that
maybe even 400 miles.
Let's just say the average
an hour. Yeah, so like from here to Texas is
800 miles.
Let's just say the average flight is 800 flights, and there's 10,000 flights per day.
800 miles.
800 miles, but let's convert that to kilometers.
100,000 flights.
So 100,000 flights per day.
Per day.
All right. So say 154 billion. So I'll just do 154 times 0.09. So yeah, so about roughly 14 people die a year.
A year.
Yeah, that's where we're going about 14 people a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I was timing the total kilometer thing by 0.09. I'm like 13 million people dying per year. That does not sound right.
And that that makes sense. I mean,
statistically, that makes sense.
Well, it's average. So it's an average. So it's like maybe in 1 year there's like a couple crashes, and then there's a couple years without them. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, there's your math lesson for today, folks.
No, but we're also just like we're guesstimating it based off an average flight of 800 miles. Which is
But more or less, let's say about 15 a year. Whatever, right? Let's go with that
15
number.
15 people.
Yeah,
well,
15 people per year.
And then the average flight is about 150 passengers.
I mean, but guess how many flights there are?
Not that bad,
you know how many flights
like
there are
statistically,
from Tampa,
one every 5
to
years.
England every day? I think there's like 2 or 3 from Tampa to England every day.
Yeah, but we got to average it out.
But then you also got people going to Miami.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
I know. But I'm just saying that flight is like, that's like 4,000 miles. So whatever. Anyways, continue.
Okay. But I mean, overall, the point is it's that's one of the safest statistics that exists.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know how many people died today from car crashes? Like, way more than that.
Probably that a day.
You know how many people died today from heart disease?
Yeah, or if you did something simple as like, okay, if we walk to 7-Eleven right now, what are the odds of us dying?
Probably higher.
One of us dying is probably high.
It's probably pretty good odds.
In this hood?
Yeah, I know. In this ghetto. So it's just a safe, I don't know. It's impressive. Safe. And I mean, I don't like to bring up the whole pyramids thing, but it's impressive what man has achieved.
We love to bring that up.
Oh my God.
Here we go, man.
Think about it. It's just impressive what
man has achieved.
Man is capable of anything.
God, you know what's impressive? Like
the heights that man is capable of.
Yeah, how much hype you put on man's achievements.
I know. I'm proud of man.
Thousands of years ago.
They were way smarter than they are now.
Eric.
By the way, I actually
Eric, we've just like literally gone downhill since the pyramids.
Yeah, and then we
as far as man's skills.
And we're finally on the come up.
Thanks to AI, we're finally getting back to even.
Back to zero.
So the other day I woke up at like 4 a.m, and I just couldn't fall back asleep, and I was just sitting there, and I think I figured out how we should do the pyramids episodes.
Okay.
I think I figured out like the basic concept, right?
Okay.
I think we should do one episode that is kind of like, a vanilla kind of history of the pyramids being built. And then Sean gets an episode and then I get an episode.
Okay.
Oh my
and our goal
it's a battle.
is to
it's to sway Jorge.
What he decides at the end of it. And so it's a 3-parter.
If you can sway Jorge, I'll quit the podcast. I'll legit quit the podcast.
It's a 3-parter. and you get to say all your arguments, and you get to lay it out and do all your research of how you could argue it, and then me too.
I like that.
And then you know what I mean?
You know what? I like the concept.
Good,
if you change, I'm literally leaving.
Hey, it's up to Eric.
Just saying. Yeah, it's an idea.
Yeah, well, good for you. You will
See, I'm already on your side, so it's all up to like the burden of the burden's on Eric.
Yeah.
The burden of proof is on Eric.
Harder sell for me. Yeah.
But you were saying you work up at 4 a.m. Like, yeah, I also work up at 4 a.m. by a small human who I'm responsible for last night.
Yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Okay, so fast forward a little bit to the Lion Air disaster. Have you heard of this?
I fucking never heard of this shit.
Okay, so Lion Air is do you know where Jakarta is? It's Indonesia.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a small airline that was founded there, and it's based out of there, and it does flights from there as their main hub. Yeah.
Okay.
And just before we get going on this, they are not allowed to fly into the United States because of our FAA says that they're not up to the standards of airlines into the United States.
Sure.
Damn. Okay.
So that's probably why you've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Coming into Gate A2 is Jakarta Airlines.
So they were founded in 1999. It's the largest privately owned airline, and they do domestic and international. Lion Air Flight 610 are scheduled to do a domestic flight from Jakarta to Penang, and it departed Jakarta's airport on October 29th, 2018. This is pretty recent.
Yeah. Oh, wow. This is hella recent.
The aircraft involved was a Boeing 737 MAX.
Sounds big.
Okay.
The MAX in there.
Now, just so you know, this airplane is the topic of the rest of the
737
we have.
Oh, it's a 737 MAX. It's like
737 MAX.
They just fucked them all up.
This is the whistleblower. This is his.
His.
He's upset about this play, or he was.
He was.
But what is the most common one that we use now? Is it 737?
737, but the variants.
I thought 7. Oh, so
both?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. Okay.
And there's so many variants of it. It's like the iPhone 1 to 15.
Okay. Which Sean wouldn't know anything about.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I'm smart.
Samsung.
Sean is like the lion. He has like the Lion Air kind of phone.
What? That's just better than yours? That's just better than yours in every possible way.
He's got the Lion Air Note 3.
Okay, I want to. Okay.
I am a hater of his phone.
Okay, so can we have our archive list go through the episodes? How many times has Jorge been like, "Well, yeah, I mean the camera is better," and this is better.
I admit the camera.
Everything else is better too.
No.
Oh, with like your stupid fucking bullshit. Ugh.
So the 737.
Anyways.
So the Boeing 737 MAX was the new 737. Okay. So they called it the MAX. It was the upgrade.
Yeah.
It was the whatever.
It's like the 14 Pro.
Yeah.
And the 14 regular.
Now, what we will learn later is that the Boeing 737, the original design, dates all the way back to the 70s.
Oh wow! So they were like no innovation.
So what they
we added a new screw on it.
No, you're right. You're right. No, you're 100% right. So what they did is they found out that if you keep the base design, you have less time to go through the FAA. It's kind of like
you can cheat the system. Like it's the same plane.
It's like
What's the problem?
It's like you don't have to get Viagra through the FDA because you call it Viagra Max.
Viagra Max.
Or you just do the generic version.
Yeah,
it's like it's the same formula.
And it's a quick version to
guaranteed
get through
4 hours plus.
That's right. So we'll go over that a little bit later.
Max.
But so they took hold. They got this 737 Max, right? Okay, so Flight 610 was carrying 189 passengers and crew members, including pilots, flight attendants, passengers, etc. And the flight's route typically lasted an hour. It was an hour flight.
So it's like
not a
quick,
big deal.
Quick jump,
yeah. Pre-flight prep involved routine checks by the ground crew, maintenance personnel. The flight crew conducted pre-flight briefings, checked the weather. The weather was clear. Flight plans, they were good to go. Yeah, everything was good. Takeoff and initial stages of the flight proceeded normally with the aircraft climbing to cruising altitude. However, shortly after takeoff, the aircraft experienced erratic flight control behavior, with the flight crew struggling to maintain a stable flight. So all of a sudden,
it's like,
it was going like this.
Holy shit.
After 5 minutes in the air.
That's
just
scary.
like this.
Have you ever been in like super bad turbulence?
I say I have, but I don't
It's never
feel like I
wasn't
have.
super bad. It was like I've been in like moderately bad, but it's never been like where they're like they're like we're fucking experiencing some shit,
or where the shit like drops down.
Yeah,
like,
no,
not that
never
bad.
had that.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I haven't had it that bad. Either,
I would have freaked out. I know, right? I'd have like freaked out.
Yeah.
I would say the worst I've been in, I did pee on myself.
That's pretty bad.
So like I was in the bathroom.
Were you drunk? Oh, you were in the
I
bathroom.
was in the bathroom.
Oh, what the fuck?
Like the turbulence, and then you hit the wall.
But that's. I thought you meant like you peed like in your seat.
I know.
I was in the.
I was scared shitless. I peed myself. Oh no, I was just in the bathroom.
Scared peeless.
Yeah, like I got up when they told me not to get up. I went to the bathroom.
You're like,
oh yeah,
you're like,
I've done that too.
Eric's like, is it against the law?
Yeah.
Is it against
I was
the
like,
law?
bro, I am like 3 $9 beers deep. I have to go to the bathroom
tonight, right now.
So they started like shaking around,
up and down.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
it was going like.
So basically, the pilots were trying to pull up, and the plane was pitching forward.
Oh, so like the.
So they're like, what the fuck?
Like,
yes.
it's
Why
like,
is it going down?
Who inverted my settings?
Exactly. So the aircraft experienced erratic flight control behavior, and the flight crew struggling to maintain a stable flight, and it led into them crashing into the ocean at full speed.
Oh shit! They couldn't
And,
even slow down.
Yeah, and every person on the plane was killed instantly. Basically.
Ooh.
I mean, how did they? They don't know
yeah.
that. But like,
Well,
you would
based
hope that you
based
were
on the
killed
box,
instantly.
based on the box that they found, they know the speed. So they were going like 350 into the water with the
water's
engines
just like
all the
concrete,
way.
yeah, so it's like-
so I mean,
Yeah.
and then nothing remained of the fuselage or the
fuselage.
So I mean, odds
are they all?
odds are it was pretty fast. So what they
I
determined.
think that's my worst fear, like in the water.
Crashing?
Like,
Oh, no,
crashing
but
in the water.
but not dying
I'll
immediately.
fucking crash. Yeah, I'll crash in a
Oh,
city, in the
man,
pavement.
yeah.
Yeah, like just have me blow up
In
and
the
like
city.
I'm done.
It's like,
but
what?
Like
just
sharks?
the drowning. No,
drown to death in the
drowning.
middle of the ocean. That's way worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you swim?
Yeah, but not while you're fucking
Not in the
buckled
middle
up,
of the ocean?
hitting 350 miles an hour.
Yeah, like, I'm
So
not
of
Tom
all the
Hanks,
places
bro.
you would rather
Oh, 100%.
go on land?
Mountain, bro.
Yes.
Send me into a
Yes.
mountain. Like,
Fucking
I want
get it.
guaranteed
You
death.
guys are
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'll go in the water. You have a better chance of living.
In the middle of
No,
the ocean.
but you're gonna die. Let's say you're gonna
Oh,
die.
but I'm not gonna die.
No, but you are. Like, let's
Eric,
just,
me personally, I'm not. Like,
Eric,
I'm
one
a tuck and duck. Tuck and duck.
breaking news: there was one survivor.
One survivor.
They're
out of
like, they're,
everybody.
They were like, well, how did you do it? He's like, tuck and duck. Yeah. They're like, what? It's like,
It sounds
the
like
fuck
Tom
does
Brady.
that- I know, it's like,
Yeah.
I tucked and I ducked.
So I mean, obviously, I know we're joking, and you know,
yeah, but that's
but
sorry.
you know,
It sucks. It super sucks.
so 189 people died, and what they determined was there's something that they installed on these new planes, and it was called MCAS. MCAS.
that's right, yeah.
And it stands for Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System. And basically, it was like, if you could just imagine, it's not AI, but it's an alert system. So if the pitch of the plane is not correct, it will autocorrect.
Okay.
Yeah, and like, yeah, it's in essence, it's a system that allows.
almost like cruise
It's
control.
almost, yeah, it's
Yeah, a little bit.
Or it's like course correction. You know, like some, like if you're going out of your lane, it's like, hey,
Oh,
bitch.
I hate that shit.
I know.
Now,
I turn that shit
What
off,
would
man.
happen though is if it never ended, it controlled you so much
This is like crash you.
Yeah.
that it crashed you.
You're like, no, I'm getting it stable. They're like, this is not correct.
Yeah.
It's like this
So
is
it kept correcting them.
correcting them down into like the,
So they installed this on the Boeing, the 737 MAX, right?
Yeah.
But essentially the sensor, and so here, where did they get this? First off, right, is they got it from they call it the black box.
yeah.
They retrieved the black box, and the black box provides so much data that it could tell you everything you want.
Probably like all the systems that were
Everything.
maybe airing and like all the
everything.
stuff. Yeah.
And funny enough, on this I learned that it's not a black box; it's an orange box.
Oh, really?
Why do they call it black
I know.
box, then?
I think the originals were black.
Oh, they were
Right
like, we gotta
after-
make them easier seen.
Yeah.
Like you're
And
like
it sounds
in a
cool.
wreckage. You're like, it's all black.
It sounds cool, but they're actually orange.
Oh, cool.
Interesting.
Because if you think about it, orange is easier to find.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
like you,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
see it, especially if in a wreckage.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
gonna be
exactly.
char and like all that shit.
So essentially, they found in the orange box, they found that the sensor was faulty and it was over triggering the MCAS to repeatedly cause the nose to pitch down.
Oh, and they would pull up and pitch down and pull out. Yeah.
Pull up, yes. And so they found it in the box that it turned on like 15 times.
Jesus.
No shit.
So they kept
And
pulling
there's not like an MCAS override? Like
so here's the thing.
Like manual control switch.
Yes, there is.
Like, Jesus.
There is.
And it was like, no.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah, trust me.
But what happened is
this is not financial advice.
the pilots weren't trained.
Oh my God. Okay, so this is pilot error?
Yeah.
I mean, it's MCAS error and it's pilot. It's like double error.
But Boeing needs to train the pilots on the new system.
Oh, and they didn't tell them? They're like, surprise, surprise. This is the Max.
Surprise,
this
surprise.
is a tutorial. No big deal.
So, of course, because it's an Indonesian airline, it became like, oh, they're
Indonesian.
low grade and they're not real pilots.
You can't fly in the U.S.
Yeah, like they really came under scrutiny for that. And that sucked.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And if you could imagine the pilots' families.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Because, they were probably decent pilots and they got fucking railed.
Of course.
Because they were told they didn't have to do training, and they're like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
They're like, it's the same plane.
Yeah.
It's the same plane. It just got the new name.
So now this part is very conspiratorial because you don't know a lot of the internal documents.
No.
And you don't know what Boeing said, what they didn't say, the memos, the did they train them enough or did they train them not
at all?
Yeah. That sort of thing. So that's where it gets a little hard to do research because
we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
We don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but the key findings from the investigation of their FAA, it's like their equivalent of the FAA, was that it needed a comprehensive overhaul of the design, the pilot training, and regulatory oversight, and recommended redesigning the whole MCAS system, enhancing pilot training programs to address what do they do. Because
in the case it like malfunctions.
Yeah, because in one of the manuals they found that the pilot's reaction error to that should be under 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he's like, oh shit, this is what's happening. Oh.
Super fast. If you ask me, like, I don't know. I'm not a pilot, so I don't know how fast you need to know this.
Have you ever seen the inside of a cockpit? I'd be like, oh,
yeah,
what's happening?
But
There's
10
so
seconds to do
happening.
it's pretty fast. Anyways, so there you go. So essentially, the conclusion to that flight, to the Lion Air flight, was I consider it pretty.
Blame the Indonesians.
Yeah, well, I mean, a series of different things that I just kind of. I mean, nothing changed.
No, they didn't. They were like, MCAS is perfect.
Yeah, they didn't ground planes. They didn't really do anything, and they said, hey, let's do more training on the MCAS system.
And it never did.
Right? Yeah.
We'll put it on the docket.
And,
let's say we did. And
yeah.
Exactly.
We'll just sign it off.
So,
what time it is? Shit, we got to go.
Okay, so then in March, this is like 5 months later.
Okay.
March, and this is an Ethiopian flight. 2019. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, there's a little trend here. Like, are they just giving like all these other nations like the shit planes? We're like, meh.
Hey.
Or
Ethiopia, we have some real crisp planes for you here.
Or they're not giving them the training.
Oh,
or
so they're just
you
like,
know what I
fuck
mean?
you.
So
Buy
they're
it.
just like, hey, it's like I don't know. Just imagine giving somebody who drove a Model T Ford, and then giving him the keys to your car. I don't know if it would.
Yeah, and then we're like,
I don't know if that's a good analogy because it's
like,
so time difference, but
right.
I'm just trying to understand like more I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like they're. It's like you're giving like a new thing. There's like a new, like say you get like a new OS that has like a major change.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, figure it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, why can't I upload shit the same? And they're like, what's the problem?
Yeah.
What you were saying is more so like when you go from like fucking Apple to Microsoft or back, reverse. Like it's hard to figure that out. But essentially, it's the same thing. It's a computer.
It's the same thing, but
there's little learning curve.
Yeah,
I know.
True.
I've tried, and I'm like, ugh. That's why you guys like switched to Apple. So one time I literally went to the store and I was like, let me just look at it. And I was like, fuck that. I was like, and not because it wasn't like cool. I was like, I can't do it. It's too weird. It's too different.
It's hard. Yeah.
So on March 10th, 2019, the Ethiopian Flight 302 was a Boeing 737 MAX 8.
So it's clearly the MAX, whatever.
Same plane.
It's the MAX.
Same fucking plane. They took off and they crashed shortly after takeoff.
Was it the same thing? Same thing?
Kind of thing.
They're like, what the fuck?
And 157 people died.
Jesus.
Damn.
They departed from Addis Ababa Bowl International Airport at 8:38. The initial climb shortly after takeoff, the aircraft encountered difficulties, including erratic altitude changes and airspeed fluctuations.
So same shit.
Yeah, they're like up. They're like, nope, down.
The flight crew reported control problems to air traffic control and requested to return to the airport immediately. But 6 minutes later, lost contact, and they crashed near the town in Ethiopia minutes after the flight.
And when was this? This is in 2019?
March 2019.
Okay.
So the other one was October 2018. This is March 2019.
That's so recent. I would have thought by that point, like they already had that system, like.
But here's the thing. I can, and it sucks for the families, and obviously that's horrible. But I can understand an accident happening.
Yeah, accidents do happen.
I can understand it.
But like that.
But the same
5 months,
accident, the same thing means they didn't do anything.
That's why. Remember, it's like too many coincidences.
Yes,
equals.
Because it becomes a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So, in my view, after reading this and researching this, they are liable for these guys.
Oh, for sure.
For the one,
right? Because
like
the first
one, they're like,
first one's like, shame on me.
Yes,
or shame on you.
Fool me once.
Yeah. So that's my opinion of this is that they fucked up big time, and
they're like, we're not, we're not changing shit. Boeing, we're the biggest, we're the best.
That's right. So they discovered that it was the MCAS system, and so the design of it was to prevent stalls, and so if you're pitched up or down too much,
you're
gonna stall.
The engines can stall, yeah.
So it corrects you.
Yeah, just like fuck. Oh.
Yeah. So, but the overcorrection based on a faulty sensor or a fucking bird could hit the sensor because it's literally jutted out of the plane.
Oh shit!
It's on the outside.
Yeah, 'cause it's like.
Yeah, it's on the outside.
Yeah.
So literally anything could happen, and then the sensor's faulty, and then all of a sudden it's.
Which wasn't the case anyway, right? It was like a bird didn't hit it; it was just faulty, or they didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Or do you think it was more like it's just faulty equipment?
It could be like they like didn't program it right.
Right.
They're like, oh, this is gonna be the tits. Everyone's gonna love this MCAS. It's gonna be the shit. And then the guy's like, it's programmed right. He's like, yeah. Oh yeah. And he's like on Fiverr. He's like,
trust us.
He's like, it's programmed right. You program that shit. Like,
Trust us.
Trust us.
Totally fine.
Just plug it in. It's plug and play. They don't need training.
Okay, so that crash happened, and then another investigation was done, and then by that time, the world is like, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? Like this is now it's becoming a thing. Yeah. And so at that time, Donald Trump was the president.
It's like fucking Boeing. We're taking you down.
He was the first president in history to ground planes.
Oh shit!
For this? Or
overall?
Ground all planes?
Of a model.
Oh, okay.
All Maxes.
All Maxes.
All Maxes
Gotcha.
getting grounded.
So Donald Trump grounded all Boeing 737 MAX fleets across the planet. Yeah. And so we're going to play that clip right now, that audio clip.
We're going to be issuing an emergency order of prohibition to ground all flights of the 737 MAX 8 and the 737 MAX 9 and planes associated with that line. I've spoken to Elaine Chao, Secretary of Transportation, Dan Elwell, Acting Administrator of the FAA, and to Dennis Muhlenberg, CEO of Boeing, and they'll be available shortly after our conference today. They are all in agreement with the action. Any plane currently in the air will go to its destination and thereafter be grounded until further notice. So planes that are in the air will be grounded. If they're the 737 MAX, will be grounded upon landing at the destination. Pilots have been notified. Airlines have been all notified. Airlines are agreeing with this. The safety of the American people and all people is our paramount concern. Our hearts go out to all of those who lost loved ones, to their friends, to their families in both the Ethiopian and the Lion Airlines crashes that involved the 737 MAX aircraft. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Boeing is an incredible company. They are working very, very hard right now. And hopefully they'll very quickly come up with the answer But until they do, the planes are grounded. And you'll be hearing from the FAA directly in a little while. I would say probably in 45 minutes from now. So you'll be prepared to hear. They're going to go into great detail as to what they found and where we're going, what we're doing. But all of those planes are grounded, effective immediately.
It's weird he has that power. I guess you're the president.
Worldwide or U.S.? He only has the power in the U.S.
I think, but but here's the thing.
U.S. company.
True.
Correct.
Yeah.
But also, everybody's going to follow the U.S.
Well, yeah, if grounded all 737 Maxes, we're like, fuck it, let it ride.
Exactly. So
they're wrong.
It's like I mean,
yeah.
So, anyways, there you go. So that was unprecedented, as you would say.
No, totally. I mean, at least somebody did something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
I
can imagine being like the person in the airport being like, "What the fuck? I don't want this stupid voucher. I just want to get on this flight," and but not realizing what was going on.
Yeah.
Right.
But hey, they could have. There's a potentiality that could have saved lives.
Yeah.
It's totally potential.
I've been on board a couple planes like before we take off, and there's been a few times where it's like something's mechanical something or other that they're fixing.
You ever think
and
it's
shit.
worse than they say?
No, I always actually downplay it. I'm like, whatever. It's like whatever. But like maybe after this episode, I don't know, man.
My parents went to this wedding in Arizona, and they were on the runway for 2 hours, and then they're literally like. They're like, yeah, it's a little thing with a little part missing. And then they're like, you got to get off the plane and get a new plane.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I was like, oh, my God. They almost took off.
Also, they like turn the AC off and like, you can't get up.
I know. And then you're trapped
what the fuck am I
in their
doing?
little tiny prison.
One time we were taking off from New York, and there was a bunch of there was something that happened that delayed everyone, and there was a bunch of planes just waiting,
stacked,
just stacked, waiting to take off. And so they were like, "Look, we're waiting. It could take 20 minutes, or it could take 2 hours." And then they turned off the AC. But I was traveling with she was 6 months old. And we ran out of the food or milk,
Was it Isa or is it?
Olivia.
Oh, wow. So
years ago.
Oh, okay,
years ago. And then she starts crying. She starts getting like,
let me off this fucking
plane. So then the guy
Outraged
comes over
off.
and they're like, look, it's up to you. We can turn around, go back. We were already like out there. We were already in line.
It's up to you?
Yeah, he's like, it's up to you.
You're like, this is so much power.
Well,
what do I do?
No. So we were like, look, are we going to go back?
Take off now.
We were like, we can't wait here. Yeah.
It's up to you. You have the power.
No, we were like, we can't wait here
Put
for 3
the bunny
hours.
in the box. Sorry.
So we made him go back. Everybody fucking hated us, dude.
Really?
Like
Weird.
they had to go to the back of the line.
That's kind of cool that they did that, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I was like, look, I'm gonna do this for my daughter. Like, fuck everybody else on this
I
plane.
know. I don't give a shit. Like, literally, I'd be like,
that's
yeah,
pretty rad.
but everybody hated us.
I love that they're like, it's up to you. Like, they're like, we're not responsible for this. Like,
I know. Well, he was saying it in a way of kind of like, look,
Yeah.
don't make us go back. But it's up to you.
Yeah.
But everybody's gonna hate you. But it's up to you.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit. It's up to you.
I'd be like, can you bring me 1 or 2 more gin and tonics?
I think I can find a way to sleep this off.
Think this through.
I know. It's like, how many Bloody Mary mixes you got back there?
Anyway.
So after a while, after the investigation, and they really fast tracked the investigation because all the planes were grounded.
Yeah, they're like
the entire
losing
fleet was
so
grounded.
much money.
The United States DOJ, the Department of Justice, they charged Boeing with fraud conspiracy.
Oh, wow.
Related to the certification and marketing of the 737 MAX series.
And nobody did any time for that.
Following investigations into the crashes of the Lion Air flight and the Ethiopian flight. Allegations that Boeing misled regulators and airlines about the safety features of the 737 MAX, particularly the MCAS system. The MCAS system was designed to automatically adjust the aircraft's angle of attack to prevent stalls, but faulty sensor data led to its activation, causing the aircraft to pitch downward uncontrollably over and over.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, did anybody, like,
figure out why?
Well, no. No, I mean, like, the DOJ is like, we charged this company with, like, did they send some motherfuckers to prison? Like, somebody had to pay some
No, nobody went to money.
No.
Or nobody went to prison.
Did they have to pay some fines?
Yes, so it's a big fine.
I know, but it's still like, to pay money. Like, they make $60 billion a year. They're like, damn.
So this is what
it's like the 2008 crisis. Like
I know,
everybody just gets slapped on the wrist, and
it wasn't even a slap on the wrist. They're like, "How much you need to get back in business?" They're like, "No problem.
Oh,
we're gonna give you."
You got a bonus too? We'll cover it.
I know. Like, don't worry about it. It's all part of the plan.
So the CEO resigned.
Yeah.
Oh wow! But it's a golden parachute resigned.
And no, and he got his stock. His stock payout was in about $20 million.
Whew. But he got it.
Yep.
Golden parachute.
I resign. Yeah. I would fucking resign too.
Yeah, me too.
As part of the prosecution agreement with the DOJ, Boeing admitted to deceiving the FAA.
Oh, they had to admit
about the MCAS system and agreed to pay $2.5 billion in fines and compensation.
Did they pay the families of the fucking people who died?
So they created a family fund of $500 million.
Where'd the other $2 billion go? Who's the government? The government's like, thanks.
No, to the government.
The government's like, thanks for that, bro. That's for lying to us.
Honestly,
the families only get half.
Honestly, to the FAA.
That's such fucking bullshit.
And to other regulatory.
See, this is okay. This is where things can become a problem.
I know, like who cares?
I know, fuck that. Like, what about the families?
Yeah.
The families.
That $2.5 billion should go to the family, right?
100%. We've set aside $50 per family.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna take the rest.
So essentially, what happened is they created a fund for the families, and it was $500 million. The fund.
Okay.
And so you have 189 from Ethiopian flight,
and then 157,
and then or the other way around, 189 for the Indonesian flight, and 157 for the Ethiopian. So that's
330.
330. So, but then you take half of that for lawyer fees.
Oh, so like each family gets like 20 grand.
Third. Yeah, okay, third. So what, 200 million of the 500?
Oof.
For 300. So each family gets it's like they get like 800,000, then they probably have to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
Wow. So each family's getting like
$1 million. I mean, minus taxes.
Before taxes.
Each family's getting like 800K because there's 330 and there's only 200 million. Like after taxes, after taxes,
more of my fucking life insurance.
After taxes, they're getting like 400K.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
And then meanwhile, the FAA is like, we're not paying taxes on this.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, bitch.
I thought it was. I know the numbers sound big, but
they're not big at all.
Not for 400 people. 300
right.
No, especially when
they died.
The FAA is getting $2 billion for getting lied to. How did they get to? Like, they didn't die. The FAA's family didn't fucking die.
Bullshit.
I know. I mean, if I was a real in journalism, I would try to find out where the money went.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah.
Where did it physically go?
Where did that $2 billion get spent?
Where did the wire transfer go? You know what I mean? There's got to be wired somewhere.
Yeah, like
I don't know how it works.
It probably went to like Judge.
Yeah.
Terry McDonald.
The FAA lost it like the Pentagon lost it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oopsie daisy.
Can't account for it.
I mean, we had an internal fire that we did not report. I don't know what happened.
The building came down.
Yeah.
Don't look at my Cash App account.
So in addition to the financial penalties, Boeing committed themselves to implementing changes to its safety and compliance programs to prevent similar issues in the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're really...
The agreement aimed to hold Boeing accountable for its actions while allowing the company to avoid criminal prosecution if it complied with the terms of those agreements and implemented those new terms of procedural oversight, so to speak.
So now they're like, okay, we won't pursue criminal things if you do this, and then now it's like they're still like, well, we told them to study. I mean, we want to.
So now there's a couple documentaries that are out about a lot of this. One of which is called Downfall. It's on Netflix. Check it out if you guys want.
Totally. I was watching a Netflix thing on the Malaysian flight, which I looked up earlier, and that was a Boeing 777.
Yeah. So John Barnett, who is going to be the focus of our part
he's the main whistleblower.
Yeah, he's going to be the main focus of part 2 episode that we're going to do. But he is in that documentary
while he's
alive, saying their standards have gone so low that they are like something's going to happen.
It's
like,
just
it's crazy. It's actually he's like. You know,
it's probably like the same thing that happened with like Volkswagen when like they got fucking they were like defrauding like the emissions data that they were going. They were like plugging in like a tertiary system that was telling them like, oh, there's no emissions, and then they were like, what's this? And they're like, oh shit. And they're like, fuck.
So also I couldn't not bring up what happened in April of 2024.
Oh, Alaska Airlines.
Yeah, so Alaska Airlines Flight
Because
1282.
Eric was born in Alaska, that's why.
Well, no, I mean...
yeah.
Literally,
I mean, yeah.
It was a terrifying experience. It's
For the
on
people
TikTok. It's on the video.
I know, I did see it.
The fucking door.
The door flies off.
Flies off mid-flight. Mid-flight.
Can you
This is
imagine,
so
can you imagine
crazy,
sitting in
man.
the seat next to the door?
Yeah. Well, didn't
Guess
that
what
person
plane
fly
it
out
is?
or no?
No,
shit.
No, nobody flew.
Oh my
no,
God,
okay, I thought somebody
But
got
here's what's
scuffed
crazy.
out.
Bathroom break.
Here's what's crazy about it.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Here's what's crazy about that is
I'm the guy that never puts a seatbelt on. I'm like, fuck you.
I hate
fuck
you.
this shit.
I would be the
You
guy
hate
who'd be
me?
like, put your seatbelt on, bro.
I always.
Hey,
You're like
bro.
you'd be the stranger
Bro,
next
yeah.
to me and be
Hey,
like,
put your shit on airplane mode.
Yeah,
bro.
right. Eric's like, hey, SA, put the seatbelt on.
This is your first time flying? 'Cause, no, guess what plane it was?
737
Max
9.
Okay.
So it's like a running trend here that the Max planes are fucked.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna check if I go on a
What the
flight.
fuck?
I refuse to fly on a Max.
Yeah.
I'm not flying on
So
a Max.
here's what happened. Essentially, they were flying out of the northwest, I think it's Seattle, and within about, I would say 15 minutes of the flight, they only got up to about 15,000 feet.
Okay.
Which is like half of your...
Yeah, because cruising
your
altitude is
ascent.
like 30, 35,000.
Yeah, exactly. So you're like halfway. You know, that like 10,
You're
15
still like
minutes.
you're still going.
Yeah, you're like cruising through the town.
And then you
know?
hear
yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden, the fucking door flew off, and there just happened to be somebody who nobody sat there. Because one of the things.
Otherwise, they would have fucking
Yes,
got. That's what I.
100%.
Oh my god, that'd be like the worst.
Can you
Like, it's
imagine
a great
being that seat?
if you get sucked?
I would hold on to you.
Sir, don't let me go. We're gonna get the fuck off me.
Jorge would be like, I didn't put my seatbelt on.
He's got a blanket over. He's like, the
Help me,
seatbelt's
sir.
on.
Sir. Eric's like, I told you.
I told you.
Now it's time to
You
go.
deserve to die.
Yeah.
I know. One casualty ain't that bad.
So you learn.
So the sudden depressurization caused by the blown out door created chaotic and,
Oh, dude, of
kind
course.
of like chaos. Like just,
I mean, what? Have you ever put your arm outside the window going like 90 on the highway? Shit ain't fun.
Yeah.
It is wild though. If you rewatch the video, you see the city lights.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just kind of a weird.
But
surreal.
in that video, I
I
didn't.
feel like Steven Seagal is gonna jump out and be like, "There's a bomb on the plane," and like,
He's gonna
I
like
don't know,
karate chop
like,
some dude.
take
like-
the door. Why am I speaking in an accent? I don't,
You don't sound like Steven Seagal at
Yeah.
all.
at all.
give me a Steven Seagal.
What is?
You know, just look at the serious.
Oh no,
face.
he
He's
likes
he's
to whisper.
Oh yeah, he's a whisperer. He's a whisperer.
You fucking dead.
Okay. Yeah.
No, but in that video, I didn't see a lot of
Chaos?
commotion, chaos going on. I mean, obviously you see the door, but like people, I don't know, walking around or screaming. Nothing.
I would have
didn't see that.
I would have been screaming my fucking bloody murder.
There's no video of when it
Happened.
No, yeah.
It was like after the fact.
Yeah.
I think that's what people were like, oh, I'm gonna take a picture.
and they're
of this
just
shit.
coasting.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
So
I would have sounded like Chris Tucker in fucking Fifth Element. Was Ruby Rod?
Yeah.
Fucking. Straight out like fucking whimsical scream.
So fortunately, the flight crew quickly responded to the emergency. They initiated emergency procedures. They immediately descended to a lower altitude, so the cabin pressure was fine.
Yeah.
And they stabilized the aircraft, and then they went to air traffic control.
We're like,
and they
create
said-
a spot now.
Yeah, and they said, we're fucking landing.
Yeah.
The door
Yeah,
flew up.
yes.
Like, we're out of here.
But in this day and age, fucking TikTok rolled it hard.
Of course.
And, social media or whatever. So that was
Yeah, TikTok
pretty
famous,
wild.
Oh, that was trending
That was
for a
pretty
little
wild,
while
and it falls into this. And then what happened afterwards was one of the main whistleblowers of this whole Boeing evolution from the 80s to the 90s.
Yeah,
and
he
2000s.
worked there for like 30 years.
Yeah, and he was testifying. He was
Yeah,
testifying.
he was mid the test. Yeah.
mid, and it was day 2 of 4.
Yeah.
And apparently, and witnesses say he was happy-go-lucky, and kind of there was no indication of
depression
anything.
or
Yes.
No, that dude was like
suicidal thoughts.
The dude was like
or
a good dude. He was
behavior.
a good dude doing the right thing.
Yes.
Like he was doing the fucking right thing.
And so
This
then,
is a case of silence him.
So then what happened is he was staying at a hotel because he was there to testify at a random town or
Motel
whatever.
6.
And then a receptionist of the hotel lobby said they heard a pop, Police came to the truck. He had a truck or whatever.
Okay.
And he was found with a gunshot wound to his head.
And there was no gun in his hand.
And the gun was in his hand.
And there's no video of this?
No video.
I mean,
of course not. And this is John Barnett.
Yeah.
I mean, if it happened like inside his room or something, fine. I can understand.
Truck.
But I mean, if it was in the truck in the parking lot, there's no video.
Maybe it's a shitty little motel or something. He's trying to like stay low key. Maybe like a hooker in there or something. It's like trying to stay off the grid.
So Barnett has been working for Boeing for 28 years. And he
knows some
shit.
He's got the juice.
He was in the quality area, and so he started to say, "Hey, the quality's going down," and he started to become a whistleblower. I know that word is a little weird.
Yeah.
But he started to express concern and
it's someone on the inside who's like, "Hey," and he's probably went to his superiors and they're like, "Shut the fuck up, John." Yeah. And then he's like, "Well, I gotta tell somebody."
Yeah.
So I wanted to go over the history of those flights. Boeing, that sort of thing. So that way, now we know everything leading up to it. And then on the next episode, we're going to go into the life of John Barnett.
And there's weird thing. Sorry, just real quick. There actually are like whistleblower laws now.
Yeah.
To protect whistleblowers.
Yeah.
From like
what? What?
From persecution. Like a lot of the whistleblowers, they can't be like terminated from their positions. Like
there you go.
Like they can't be like pretty much put into.
I can imagine
like,
a whistleblower keep working there. Like you'd be miserable.
I would never want to work there.
No, hell no.
But
I know what you mean. Like there's shit in place.
What if you're like him? You worked there for 30-something years, and like my pension, I get my pension in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to do the right thing, but I'm still trying to get paid.
Yeah.
Like
especially because
he
his
got
job
terminated.
was
All right.
Oh, he got fucking terminated.
What's crazy too is his job is to do that. Like he's the quality inspector. So it's like his job is
credibility.
So it's just kind of confusing why he would not continue to do well. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's because he was giving the answers they didn't want.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh no, they were probably like, "Listen, John, just look. We'll make it worth your while. No, what do you think? What do you? But they were like, "What do you care about a couple Indonesians, going down and playing? Come on, John."
Johnny boy.
He's like, "My wife's Indonesian, bro." And they're like, "Shit. Terminate him." Terminate.
Next episode, we are going to go over the life and what happened with John Barnett all the way leading up to his death, including some more details about his death.
Yes.
Also, there's Joshua Dean, recently within the last month.
Like literally like
also
2 weeks ago.
Died under mysterious, like a staph infection.
Yeah.
He was also a whistleblower for Spirit, which was a supplier of Boeing.
I'm sorry, but like no one has died from the staph infection in the last 70 years. Like, I promise.
I don't know. The whistleblower died of dysentery.
I know, it's like Oregon Trail. I literally like, you got Ebola.
Jesus Christ. So that's what we got tonight, guys. Thanks a bunch.
Yes.
Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll catch you next time on the Conspiracy Podcast.
Nighty-night.